I've been doing music for as long as I can remember. Even as young as 3 years old, I had my very first solo in a little church in Iowa, and I remember even at that young age that music was just a part of who I was. It was part of my DNA. I grew up in a home where music was always played, multiple instruments in the home, and then outside of instruments, we just always had music playing because it's who we were.
Grew up right here in Music City, not a fan of country music. It was all around, it was just everywhere, and it wasn't intriguing to me. But as I grew older and became a little bit more of a serious player and more of a songwriter, I began to have a great appreciation for the craft. Great players in country music, great songwriters in country music. Never thought in a million years that I would be doing it.
So growing up, I sang all the time, but as I got older, singing kind of became the background of my life as I got married and have children, and we got busy doing life. But I felt like God always was remembering my dream.
We always thought we would do a worship album. It never happened. Year went by after year went by, and we never recorded. People would come up to us and say, "Hey, do you guys have an album?" And we'd say, "No, we don't." It just never happened. A few months ago, the pastor at our church, Dan Scott, he began preaching a series of messages talking about how you just need to go out and do the things that God has put on your heart. God used those messages to stir within Jamie and I that now is the time to record. Now is the time to do this.
So here we are, 15 years of marriage and 3 kids, and God has opened this amazing door for us to be able to pursue some dreams and some things that have been in my heart for years.
So we began talking about it. We began trying to figure out, what does this thing look like? In the process of this, a friend of ours had come to us and said, I want to record you guys. I want to do an album with y'all. And we were like, great, this is awesome. This is wonderful. Still thinking we're going to do a worship album. The day before we were supposed to go to meet with Jamie Harville, our producer, my wife, Jamie, and I took our kids on a walk behind the house that I grew up in.
During the walk, I chose to take my kids through a cemetery, which is kind of weird, I guess, but I took them through a cemetery and was looking at some of the headstones and realized that some of the people that had been here didn't get very long to make a mark on this earth. And as I was looking at it, I felt like the Lord said to me, "What kind of mark, Jamie, do you want to leave on this earth?" My response was, well, of course I want to glorify your name, God. I want to do whatever it takes to make you known. And I felt in that moment like He said to me, then you need to do what I've called you to do, and that's to produce a country album. And I was stunned and totally taken back. And in that moment, all of these story songs, Colin Ray, was just flooding my mind. Little Big Town, Kenny Loggins, which is kind of a weird turn, not really country, but we felt like it was a blending of taking a folk album, a country album, and our life stories and bringing them together. And this journey we have been on has been so amazing. The stories and the songs that have come out of us through this process. That in the green tin roof with big black shutters, the red brick home where we spent our summers chasing butterflies and dreams around the yard. In the green tin roof.
It felt God-breathed. It was a really special moment right there at Forrest Hill Cemetery.
And that's kind of where the story began, in this little cemetery in Ashland City, Tennessee, called Forrest Hill.